this week's Parashas Bamidbar. So it says here how they traveled. Right, we're going to go into all the traveling next week also. So the last few verses, when they got the signal that they're going to travel, so the Kohen, they were commanded to wrap up the utensils. There were different utensils. There was the Aron, the Ark, there was the altars. So the Kohen had to wrap it up. And we're going to go into the idea of why. Why did he wrap it up? Let's look at page 746, which is Perek Dalid, Pasuk Yud Ches. Right, we'll start here at Pasuk Yud Ches, which is verse 18. It says that Hashem spoke to Moshe and Aaron, and he said, Al tachwisu es shevet mishpachos haKoasi. So he said, Moshe and Aaron, he said, make sure that you should not cut off the tribe of the Kahas. Now, who was Kahas? Kahas was one of the three children from Moshe. Moshe had three children, Gershon, Kahas, and Merari. So Kahas, right? Is that right? How many children did Moshe have?
How many children?
Yeah.
I thought two.
I had two sons, I thought.
No, he had three sons. Right? You could write it down. Maybe I'm wrong. I'll check it up also in case I'm wrong.
Because there's a pasuk that says I have one son and one son rather than I have two sons. There's a famous word on it.
Nadav and Avihu. That was the two children of Aaron. Aaron had two children.
Right. That's
one was he started out with four.
Right.
He had Nadav, Avihu, Elazar, and Isamar. Nadav and Avihu, they were the ones they brought in the incense without permission into the Holy of Holies, so they died. And he left over with Elazar and Isamar. Now we're up to the sons of Moshe. So how many children did Moshe have? So the answer is, I believe he had three. Gershon, Kehas, and Merari. Okay? Got it? You wrote it down? Everyone wrote it down? Right? David, your notes are going to be they're going to be very precious. Yeah. Everyone's going to be calling you up after to find out what they said here.
Also on here on the kosher tube too.
Yeah.
Even better.
It's documented.
Yeah.
Okay, so there you go. So the idea was, and I'll just tell you what the last parak of this parsha is talking all about. The whole last parak is saying, or the last chapter, what does everyone carry? As the whole camp is moving, what was everyone's job? So, well, the camp in the beginning of the parsha, it says how the camp traveled. Who was in front? Yehuda was in front with Ruvain, right? It goes through God. God was very strong, so they were they went first next to Ruvain. That's the beginning of the whole parsha, right? That's all the way in the beginning. Now, right, Ruvain. The truth is, Ruvain didn't go actually in front. Yehuda, because he was the king, he went up front, and Yisachar went next to him, because Yisachar is the studying of Torah. The Torah goes ahead with Yehuda, and Zevulun went right next to him. Zevulun, why did Zevulun get up front? Zevulun is one of the tribes, right? You know the tribes. Zevulun is one of the tribes. What's the answer? Why Zevulun was up front?
They supported the learning tribe.
Because they were the ones they went out to see. They made the business, and they helped Yisachar learn. So therefore they went first, and speaks about who went on the next side, and that's how they traveled. Now in the last chapter here it says, so what happened when they actually had to travel? So there were three children of Moshe, Gershon, Kahas, and Merari. Kehas carried the Holy of Holies. He carried the altar, he carried all the menorah, and it speaks about what they had to do. They had to cover it. And then, well, who carried it? Who covered it? The Kohanim covered it. Okay. That's the first thing. So the truth is, you could even look back at page 744. At page 744, here it states clearly that as they decided that they were going to travel, so there it says in verse 2 that it says, Nosas Roish B'nei Kas, you should tell the children of Kahas that you have to count them up, and we're going to see what their jobs were. So what were their jobs? So it says in the next verse, goes from 30 and 50, that's the ages. And then it says in Pasuk Dalet, in the fourth Pasuk, it says they carried the Holy of Holies. What was the Holy of Holies? The whole inside of the Mikdash, the Holy Temple, the Aron, the Ark, the Shulchan, the table for the showbreads, and the menorah, and all of the curtains. They carried the most precious things. Now, but that was Kos. Kos was the child of Moshe. Moshe was a Levi. These are all Levium. The Levium carried all these things. So Kos was one child, Gershon was another child, and Merari was another child. So Merari carried the boards. They carried the heavy things. And Gershon there were a few different things that he carried, the oil, and he carried different things, a few different things we're going to see further. But if you see at verse 5, it says, Uba Aaron, right here on page 744, verse 5, that Aaron would come, and Uvanov, with his children, bin Soah HaMachana, when the camp was about to travel, v'hoyridu es pareches hamasach, he would take down the curtain, and the kisoy ba, he would cover with the curtain as Aron hoidos. They covered the Aron, and then they would have to take it all apart and cover it, and then it was ready for the Levium to come in and transport it. And it says there that they put two coverings on top. One was this multicolored one to catch the rain, and then there was another type which was on top of that, two different colors. And after they finished covering all these things, then the Levium could come in and carry it. Okay, now let's go now to, you'll see here, let's go back to where we're holding here, Pasuk Yud Tes, right, verse 19 on page 746. So there, the Pasuk says that Hashem told Moshe and Aaron to make sure, Al Tachrisu, make sure that they don't get cut off, the Shevet Mishpechos HaKehas, that tribe of Kehas, they shouldn't get cut off. From the Mitoich HaLeviim, from among the Levium. What does that mean? Why would they have gotten cut off? What they do wrong? So on that, let's see the next verse. Pasuk Chaf, Pasuk Yotes. V'zois asu lahem. This is what you should do for them. V'chayu, and then they will live. V'lo yamusu, and they won't die. V'gishtam es kodesh hakadashim. So we spoke out that the Levium, and specifically the children of Kehas, they carried all of these holy items. They had the Holy of the Holies. It's called, they carried the Holy of Kodesh HaKadashim. So what happens? They're going to come close to carry all of these items. So it says here, Bigishtam, when they come close, so we want them, it says, V'chayu, they should live and they shouldn't die. So when they come close to carry these things, Aaron uvanav yavayu, Aaron and his children should come first. V'samu v'isam, ish is al avoidasai v'amasai, and Aaron will also assign each man to his work. But look at the last verse of this parsha. V'lo yavayu lirois, but the children of the Levium, these Levium, should not come to see kibala es hakodesh v'mesu, when the holiness, the holy items are there, right? Kibala. Now kibala, the word bala means from the word to swallow. Balua, bailea, to swallow, to be swallowed up. That's the literal word. Now, we just finished saying that the Kohanim, their job was to cover over all of these utensils in their proper covering. So now the Levium, they weren't supposed to look at these utensils. So the last verse says that the Levium shouldn't come to see Kibbalah as the Kodesh, as the holy things were being swallowed up and covered in their coverings. Vamesu. Because if they would die. This is a important, one of the 613 mitzvahs, possibly here it says that they shouldn't come. No person should come and look to see these holy items until it's covered over. And that's what the last Rashi in the parsha also says, that they went into their nartek. Nartek it's a bag. They had a certain bag, and he said, make sure that it's covered over in the right covering. And then the Levium could enter and they could pick it up and carry it. That's what comes out here, right? You can see also he explains this. This is the Kohanim's job. The Kohanim have a responsibility to make sure it's all wrapped up, and only then could the Levium come in, right? And the Levium, they were not allowed to gaze at these holy utensils. These were the holy of the holies, and if they would die. Okay, now let's go into this a little bit, and now that we got this pasuk, this last verse, and this last verse is, according to some, it's a mitzvah. It's one of the 613 mitzvahs. It happens to be, it would be a negative commandment, and the negative commandment would be, make sure that you have it all covered over, all of these utensils, so that no Levi should come in and look and see any of these utensils before they are wrapped up.
Only Levi or Yisrael?
Well, it would probably be even in Yisrael, probably for everyone. Now, the reason why we are speaking about the Levium specifically is because the Levium would be
the carriers.
They would be the carriers. So they would be the ones to come right in and start, they would be looking. So therefore, we have to say, we speak about them specifically. Now, and in terms of which items we're talking about, so Rashi speaks out that it's, Rashi says not over here, but Rashi says in the Gemara that it seems like all these holy items like the Mizbeach, and we also have menorah, and the truth is, right, the Ibn Ezra speaks this out clearly. Okay, so that's the first idea here. Just to give a little bit of an idea of why the Rashi says that these are the holy items, and one of them is the Mizbeach. Why is the Mizbeach called holy? So the idea is that this is where all the korbanos went on it, right? They would bring a sacrifice, so they would actually put the blood on the altar, and therefore that's the main place for the service of the sacrifices, and therefore that's why this is part of the holy procedure, as well as the Aron, the Ark. The Ark is where Hashem spoke to us from, where there were the two cherubim, the two cherubs. They were placed there, so the voice came right there between them. So therefore, that's the holy of the holies. That's where the main place where we had the divine presence come down. It came down, and the voice went through that right on top of the Aron. So therefore, that's why it's called the holy of the holies. Okay, but it seems that it also includes all the other utensils, and therefore we have to make sure it's covered. Now, let's go into an additional idea that the Gemara brings down. The Gemara says in the Gemara Sanhedrin, on the Pei Aleph Amud Beis, an interesting idea. It says on the bottom that Hagoyne ves hakisva. It says someone who steals a kisva. What's a kisva? So a kisva, the Gemara itself asked the question. The Gemara says, what's a kisva? The Gemara says that from the name of Rabbi Yehuda, a kisva is klisharis. A kisva is a utensil from the Mishkan. One of the utensils. And he says, where do we learn it out from? So he says like this. First of all, the word kisva spelled kuf samach vav hey. Kisva. So he brings a proof from this week's parsha. If you take a look a little bit back in Perek Daled Pasuk Zayin, I'll just show you the verse that it says the root of that word, which is on page 744, verse 7, that it says, speaking about the shulchan, speaking about the table with the showbreads. So it says there that you put the covering on top of the plates, and on top of the spoons, and on top of the menakiyos, right? That's also the shelving tubes, right? The pillars, and the ksois hanosach. That word ksois is the same root, although this is here it's with a samach and here it's with a sin, but it's the same root. Ksois hanosach. What is ksois hanosach? So here, Rashi here does not tell you. Rashi just tells you that it's nosach is the covering. What's the ksois? So the Gemara says the ksois is a type of utensil. It's a utensil. So it was the special utensil that they had when they put the breads down. So they had a special layer to separate one bread from the other, that it shouldn't come on top of it. That was the idea there. Fine. Now, therefore we just have an idea that the word kasois means the utensil. So now, the Gemara learned out that anyone who steals one of the utensils, the holy utensils, he gets punished. What's the punishment? The punishment is that he is put to death. Now, who puts him to death? So this is one of the three big laws. I believe there are three here. Yeah, there are three laws. There are three things that a person does that he gets put to death by a bystander. Anyone who sees him, you put him to death. It's called kanoim. Anyone who's zealous for the sake of Hashem, he could kill him. This was the story that we have in Parshas Pinchas, that we saw there was a fellow there, Zimri, and he was doing a different Aveira. There are three Aveiras where a zealous person can kill. One of them is if someone is together with a non-Jewish lady in public. So if he's together with her in public, anyone who comes along and sees it, he sees the desecration. Because of the desecration of God's name, he could kill both of them.
You said non-Jewish.
She is non-Jewish.
Right, but I mean, somebody publicly even...
You want to know now, what about a Jewish girl with a non-Jewish man?
With a Jewish man in public.
No, so that wouldn't be under this law.
Really?
That might be a different law. It might be...
So it's just Jewish male with a Goya
Right.
in public.
Now, in terms of, it could be with a Jewish male and a Jewish girl, maybe you could even take them into the court. We can kill them maybe in court. But this is a specific rule because the name of heaven is being desecrated, so there is a special release, a license that any bystander could come and kill. If he goes and asks the court would say, we can't give you official permission. But there's official permission through this rule that anyone could come and kill. And that's what happened with Zimri. Zimri, he came and was trying to attack Moshe. He was saying, Moshe, he thought that, he had different claims. So he came and said, Moshe, how did you marry who you married? Right? Moshe married a lady who was dark skinned. So he came and accused, maybe you're marrying someone who's not a Jew, who permitted you to her, and then Zimri told Moshe, I'm going to take a non-Jewish lady also. So he went to a tent, and and there was a bunch of Jews around. So he took the lady into the tent. So that was a desecration of God's name. So Pinchas came along, right? That's why it got a name. You're going to see in a few weeks. It's called Parshas Pinchas. Right? You get up to there in a few weeks.
You know the street.
Oh, you know the street?
I know the rabbi, I think.
And you know the page 881. In the art school, we'll see this parsha. Pinchas came with a sword, and he hid the sword under his garment, spear, and he walked. He made believe he was on their side. He said Pinchas was actually from the tribe. Pinchas ben Elazar ben Aaron HaKohen. He was from Aaron. So he said to them, Zimri, it's only your tribe could do these types of relations. I also want to join in. Well, he didn't say those words. He said, is this only for your tribe? So they thought he was coming to join in. So they said, come in. You're from Aaron HaKohen. You're from the best tribe. Come right in. So he came in and he killed them both, and the sword went straight through both of them. That was the name of the rule called kanoim. So someone who's zealous, Pogabo can kill for the honor of Hashem only in three specific
So we have two.
cases.
What's the third?
This is two.
Wasn't Moses' wife?
Megayer. She was a convert, right? Is that what you want to ask? What do you ask? That she probably was converted.
Okay.
Is that what you were going to ask?
Yeah.
Yisro's daughter.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly.
That's an interesting question. We have to.
back?
Yisro.
We're talking about different women. She wasn't the Cushite, right?
Yes. Moshe's wife was a Cushis. Yes, she was
And
dark
that also
skinned.
Jethro's daughter? Or was this the same?
Yes.
Because he could have had more than one wife.
Right? Yes, that is true. That is true. I'll show you actually the story here, because it happens to be, this is the whole topic of all these three cases of Kana and Pagabai, that a zealous man could take revenge for the honor of God's name, which means it's not written in the Torah that the law, if you go into the court, they would have told Pinchas he's not allowed to kill.
An honor killing.
But because it's a special rule for the desecration of God's name, that there's a license to kill, but it's not that you could go into the court. The court will say, we don't execute like this. But once he did it, he's allowed. He was allowed.
So we get the shiksa, we can kill the shiksa?
Right. Both of them.
Both?
Yes. Now,
and the guy.
Right. So that's one case. That's one case. We have our case.
The showbread separations.
So now in our case, we have this case of someone who steals. Now the word kisva just is from that showbreads. It's the utensil that they put in between. But we learn out it's any utensil. Anyone who steals any of the holy utensils,
Big trouble.
is in big trouble. How much trouble?
Death.
Death. Now, it won't be by the court. If you go into court, they'll say. If you go into court, the court will say.
Do it.
Right.
They can strike you down.
So what's the
Right. And the third one is also an interesting one. It's someone who tries to curse God through different types of idolatry,
Witchcraft?
witchcraft. Yes, exactly. You got it on the button.
Parking tickets?
What? No.
Okay. Sorry, I got a ticket today.
But it's
I wanted to strike them down.
But it's a type of thing. That's what Rashi says. Through not through, but it's more through idolatry. He tries to curse God. That's the third type.
Black magic.
Yeah, it's an interesting third type that also has to be dealt with. But in terms of this one, I just want to first I'll show you that case of Moshe when he married the lady who she was called a Kushis, like you're saying. And I will tell you, right, we know where you find that. That will be found in, I'll show you where. Because it came out that Miriam spoke bad about Moshe. That's going to be a different parasha coming up in end of Parashas Bahaloscha. Here we go.
Took the string and
yeah. Now, so Moshe married Tzipporah. And Tzipporah was from Midian. Now, the verse, they might even write it as interesting. They write Kushis. She was from Kush. Now, literally, the word Kush might mean Ethiopian. Ethiopians are dark. So, but they write here, but she wasn't really from Ethiopia. Now, the idea is that it was a euphemism. It's an argument. Was she actually dark, or was it made to speak it in a euphemistic way that she was really beautiful? But the verse said it in such a way that, like, we didn't want to prevent an evil eye. So we say it in such a way to say, like, she wasn't so pretty. Okay.
Kush was also used for the blackness of the raven in Teva, wasn't it? There's a
The raven, the Arev.
Yeah, he's called the Kush too, isn't he? Like the blackness?
I'm not sure. The ravens are black, but I don't know if the ravens are called the Kush.
I thought it was something to
Okay, we'll have to check up on what their word is.
Okay.
But what we do see, that's the idea there. So what happened was, let's go into the idea of. So he took this kushi. So they came and said, "Who permitted you to the kushis?" That was the story there. Now it's a good question what you're asking. We have to look into that also. We'll have to see if she was converted or she not. It seems that she was. Now. Yeah.
This is.
He married her before he went back to Egypt.
Oh, really?
He married her before the Torah. Yeah.
Wow.
He married her. He left Egypt. He's with Jethro. In this. Before the burning bush, he married her, right?
Right. Well, maybe it was.
Jethro was the head.
Moshe then married her. Right. That's when he married her. So he said to me, right. He grabbed this. He brought the lady and he said, "Moshe, why are you allowed to marry such a lady?"
Zimri.
Right. Zimri came and he said this protest here. Now, the story is that Moshe was before, like Irving said, it was before the giving of the Torah. And after the giving of the Torah, then all of the non-Jews, they were all non-Jews then, right? Before the Torah, there was no such thing as a Jew. So then they all came into the mitzvahs.
They were Israelites before the Torah, right?
Yeah. Okay. In any event, we're going to maybe go into this another day, but the Gemara here calls it now that there's another idea that we learn out from our pasuk here. These words, the Gemara says, the last verse of our pasuk is V'lo yavayu. The Gemara now says, how do I have a hint? Where do I have a hint that someone steals one of the utensils from the Mishkan? He gets killed, right? At least you want to tell me it's handed down from Sinai.
You just look at it, you get killed.
Now, if you look at it, that's interesting.
So it says right here. But they were forbidden to gaze upon
Looking
them
at it
in their uncovered state, lest they die.
So looking at it is less than taking it. So then it's only.
You can't
That's
touch it. You
interesting.
can't even look at it.
That's an interesting idea. What about?
Can't touch it if it's wrapped up.
If it's wrapped
Now,
up,
let's say it was wrapped
not
up.
uncovered.
So now the question would be: let's say it was wrapped up. Could they steal it?
But
Let's
it's
say
not even
someone.
saying you can't touch it.
We'll have to look into the idea of not touching it. But I want to ask you: let's say they stole. Someone would steal such a item. So we're saying now that he could get killed. He could get killed. So the Gemara asks, where is the source for such an idea? Right? You say it's from Sinai, but usually when you're able to kill someone, it has to be written in the Torah. So the Gemara answers this verse. The Gemara says, "V'lo yavayu lirois kibala es hakodesh," that no one should come close to see as it bala means swallowed up. When something is stolen, it's swallowed up and either hidden. So Kibbalas HaKodesh V'Mesu. So the Gemara learns this verse in another light, in another idea to say that one cannot steal any of these utensils, and if someone does steal a utensil, then they will get killed.
But it didn't apply to people who ransacked the temple and took everything.
So we have to see about that idea. It's interesting.
That's true.
That's interesting. So we'll have to see exactly what type of utensils this was.
Or
That
if
was
it just applies to Jews.
that's a good point.
Well, did they take the utensils or were the utensils hidden?
No,
Or did they not take that? Or did the Jews retain it? Who knows, right?
Good question.
And
It's a good question.
all the things were kept. And
People say it's in Ethiopia.
That was a good question. Do you have to have a minute down there?
Yeah. Did they?
Okay, they're going to go. No, they're going right now.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
It's not till quarter two or 22.
I think right
No,
now.
it's starting
Right
now.
now.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I was here, yes.
Okay. You missed it, right? You got it down now.
Yes.
Great. Okay. So I'll just finish up. I'll tell you the idea here. That so we have it on two levels. We have on two levels. This verse. It's telling you two separate things. Okay, got the two things here. One thing is that it has to be covered over, so no one should gaze at it and die, like you're saying. And on the other level, the verse is interpreted that no one should see as someone else is stealing it, because if he will steal it, he'll die. That's the second verse. Now, the question is this counted as one of the 613 mitzvahs? So it wouldn't be counted according to the Rambam because it's not relevant in all generations. Because we don't have the Mishkan. And it has to be.
But the utensils might still exist.
Yes. They might.
Do you think they exist?
Yes. But the Aron.
Do you know where they are?
But the Aron is hidden. The Aron is hidden.
The
Ark.
The Ark.
That is hidden and no one could find it.
But wait, if it's hidden, it still exists.
It does exist, yes.
It can't be destroyed.
It can't be found.
It's a crucible.
Right.
It can't be destroyed.
Right. It was a lot of miracles were done with that ark. It also carried the people who carried it. Right. It wasn't that you were carrying it; it was carrying you. So there's a lot of miracles done with that. So that is true. But the Rambam says Torah, all the Torah has to be morasha. Torah tiva lanu morasha kilos Yaakov. The verse states that it's an inheritance for all of Yaakov, and therefore it has to be an inheritance for all the generations. And since this mitzvah is not relevant to all generations, it's not one of the 613.
Okay.